Yep. I cannot tell you how absolutely excited I am for today to finally come. The weather outside is probably 57, 56, 58, somewhere thereabouts. My weather app it tends to be wrong, so who knows. The temperature in my garage, though, is absolutely prime. Absolutely prime. 70 degrees, mid-grade humidity. I got it covered in plastic because that's what I used to check my spray patterns with. Wow. And I did this with not one, but two space heaters. I actually put this up together not knowing how cool or cold it would get today. And I wanted to, if I didn't heat up the garage, I wanted to heat up the panels that I'm painting. So I'm going to test my skills, as it were, on the backs of these things and see how it goes. I should probably turn on the rest of the lights too. Am I missing something? Yeah. It looks, hold on. There we go. All right, so I'm going to move the space heaters out of the way in a little bit. I'm going to start with get rid of junk. I've washed these things a couple times already. I'm not worried about residue, but as you can see, the residue and so forth tends to accumulate still. So I'll spend a few minutes prepping these things and getting them dust free. I'll then use my tack cloth and get any lint and everything else that might impregnate the surface off as well. And I'll then use some silicone remover. Where is that stuff? Yeah, that's here. God, look at that dust. Silicone wax remover. And then I will be ready to paint. Oh my goodness, I'm freaking excited. I've got two turkey basters, so I can draw the paint out without slopping it everywhere. And mixing setup I'm going to use for a larger batch, and on and on and on. So, without further ado, I'm going to start the cleanup. Might as well kind of do a running narrative of what I'm doing here. I'm about to wipe it down with silicone remover, that stuff I just showed you, and after that, I'm going to be using this stuff, this tack cloth. Super sticky stuff, that just a cotton rag basically, that then picks up any last remaining bits of dust or lint or whatever else that might mar the paint job. I've got 3 packs of these. And this one is especially formulated for primers, primer surfacers, yada yada, all that stuff you see there. I've got the other 2, where did I put those damn things? The other 2 packs of these things. Also good for primer surfacer and etc. Stuff I've got, but this stuff apparently is readily used for paints. And I don't think I'm going to be color sanding, so I probably won't use those for the paint. But I'm going to definitely use those as I start tacking off the rest of the body. So I'll put this away. Next step: silicone removal. Next bit. I've already sort of agitated up my paint. I'm going to mix this in a 1-to-1 ratio with this low VOC reducer. Again, they're all compatible. They're all from the same company. They're all the same mixture and formula and so on and so forth. So, my idea of perhaps using these to get this out of here and into there, I'll use this maybe 3 times, twice. At that point, then the level will be down enough where I can just pour it in. And I got my compressor going. It's charging up. God, it's a gorgeous color. Yeah. Oh. I'll be using a DeVilbiss HVLP gun. This, very similar to the one that I had before. I've always used this one just for color. And I've denoted that with the tips here. I'm using a 1.3 tip and a 1.3 nozzle. You'll see, let's see if it'll come out through there. Yeah, this is a 1.8. There's 1.5s, 1.3s, 2.0s. Higher the number, the thicker the tip. The thinner the tip, the better, the tinier atomization of the liquid you get. What else do I have in there? I've got my other kit here. Oh, yep. Boy, if that thing could talk. So again, a 1-to-1 ratio mixture. I'm going to slosh between both of these things and get it all nice and mixed up. I don't think I'm going to use any more than this. Maybe for all of that. I guess we'll see soon. I'll put this on a tripod, and when it's ready, it's ready. Oh yeah, personal gear, protective gear. Got my my respirator with new inserts. I've got particle filters on there as well, just for the hell of it, and eye protection. Taking my glasses off, put them inside so that I don't get those things painted up. But this stuff is deeply important. When I was using the old paint, excuse me, the full VOC. Oh my goodness, good stuff. But this is a low VOC or lower VOC, one of the two, and I'll have a better. Let's see it. It'll go down here in a sec. And this is my tack cloth. I have washed my hood and trunk lid. I have de-dustified it. I've wiped it down. You can see what this tack cloth gets off for dust. So ignore the color change. It's all the junk in here that you're looking at. Whenever I use these things, I'm just amazed at the crap it picks up off the surfaces. So it should, it should just hoover out my my trunk and my engine bay. This fog in the air is paint particles. So I'm breathing in through my mask and talking out as I pull it away from my face. This is great evidence as to why you should wear a mask when you're doing any kind of a painting job at all. God damn. So the thing I've got here filters out all of the compounds and the solvents and things. I can barely smell it through the mask. This is a good mask. But with this off, I've got to pop my garage door a little bit and air some of this out. So now that I'm done, I've got basically 3 coats and a tack coat. That first coat that I put on, that real thin one, was called a tack coat. You let that dry for 10 minutes between coats, and then you start laying down the somewhat heavier stuff. And then you saw that I went long ways twice, and then this way. You do a crosshatch pattern. Jesus. So that if you do have uneven coverage, and I do, or did in some spots, then like here, I'll probably... No, that's not paint. That's the actual... That's a fuck up in the metal. Oh well. Doing a crosshatch pattern will take out any issues, any moans, groans, or complaints of coverage. So I'm going to pause again. I can't breathe in here. All right, let me show you what you're looking at. I got a lot of the stuff out of the air. Now I can talk without having to breathe through my mask. I set the heaters up again just to kind of warm the place up. I had the garage doors all the way out to get rid of the fumes. It was pretty bad. I had just a tiny smidge of paint left in this thing, so I sprayed out another coat basically on both the trunk and the back of the hood. And you can see that after 4 good medium coats, they weren't thick and they definitely weren't thin. It's pretty goddamn good. I cannot wait for the clear coat to go on. I've got 20 minutes left. You should do 30 minutes between base coat and clear coat. Again, you can see that line. Maybe you know, from a different angle you can't, but jeez, this is good paint. Let's take a look. Huh. Dry to the touch. Yep. So I'm looking at the camera face here of my phone, and it's covered in sparkly stuff. So that stuff's atomizing. Also, another good reason to wear this this mask. I'm gonna clean my gun up. I've got this plus an acetone. Where's my other acetone thing? It's here somewhere. I don't know where it is. Put it up, I think. It's up in there. And I'm going to clean my gun out and get it ready for the clear coat. And I'll show you that next step as well. Right, here's my next step, clear coat. This is a 4-to-1 mix. Again, it's nascent stuff. All formulated to work together. I don't know if you can see that or not. 4-to-1 ratio with 48384. Right there. 48384 is what I've got here. Again, it's a mid-temp activator. There is a high-temp activator, which means it dries more slowly. After the garage door went up, let's see, yeah, I went down by a few degrees here, so again I got the space heaters warming the surfaces at least of these things up. I wanted to play a song for you. It's like the best song ever. This is Rammstein, Links 123, and I wrote a master's thesis on data compression and techniques to this song, so it's one of my favorite songs. I played it about 1 billion times in grad school, so good stuff. That's at the time, by the way. Yep, I'll just turn it down. Where's my thing? Anyway, so I've got probably 8 or 5 minutes left on my timer to get this going, so I'm going to pre-mix this. Again, it's going to be a 4-to-1. This much clear to that much reduce your activator, stir it up nicely, and stuffed into the pot. I'm using a slightly bigger needle on this one for a slightly larger droplet that comes out of the gun. I've known people who do the same needle with the same, with both base coat and clear coat. I admit that I'm okay with painting, and clear coat I've got to be careful on. So I'll probably put down a number of layers before this thing starts to really pop and look nice. So until then, I'm going to press pause. The other awesome song I used to do in grad school for a different technique I tried, again with data embedding and techniques, and this one is also Rammstein. Feuerfrei. That's good stuff. Alright, let me tell you what you're looking at and what not to do. I made no attempt at wet sanding or taking care of the back of these things after I had primed them, knowing that I just didn't care, honestly. So the shine looks pretty good. I got a couple more coats to go, and you can see, maybe you can't. There you go. Some of the speckly will go away when I put on more coats, but these bumps, those are what I've been calling nibs, so I didn't sand those down. On the back of this, I've got a hood thing, engine, I don't know what you call it. Looks nice with an MG logo on it. So I'm not too worried about it, and that's why I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. This, I'm going to be very careful about with my fenders and everything else, the body, so that you don't see this shit. I've got two options if I do something like this. Start over, take it all down back to nothing. I'm not going to do that. Wet sand it so that all these nibs are done and gone, and then clear coat it. I'm not likely to do that. Actually, that's what I would do if I had a nib or fuck up over there, or leave it as is. And I'm going to leave it as is. Again, because this whole center section will be covered with a hood pad. done. Alright, so I've got, what, 2 medium coats and 2 wet coats, I think. So between the medium coats I was doing, what was it, 10 minutes. And then between the heavy coats I was doing 30 minutes. To let this stuff get tacky and set up. And I don't think it's done yet, honestly. Let's take a look. And it's getting tacky. Kind of. Alright, so I got the garage door open to kind of let some fumes out. I'm going to put that down and let the warmth stay in. Fumes aren't so bad. Alright, here's what you got. I like the color. Really like the color. After a couple of wet coats here, some of the nibs are not as pronounced as they were. Yeah, got a little bit of. See how the reflection kind of changes here. I either had too little coverage or too much air right there. So this is an area where I'd buff out. And this is something that you do buff out. Either wet sanding with successively finer grain sandpaper, 1200, 1500, 2000, and then you buff it. So, not bad. There goes my, I'm gonna unplug that thing. I am tickled freaking pink with this color. I love this color. This thing is gonna pop. Something I hadn't considered though is all of the stuff that gets up in the air. I'm now a little bit worried. Now I'll just wash it off. That's not so bad. Yeah. So here's a really good reason why you should wear a mask when you're doing this stuff. Look at all that. All that is clear coat. If you don't wear a mask, that's what ends up in your lungs. Alright, so what's next? I'm going to let this cure overnight. Obviously, I'm going to do the trunk and the engine bay probably tomorrow. And let that sit for quite some time. And I got to think of a good way to get this stuff nice and warm. I'll get up in the morning. I've got a couple of errands to run in the morning, so what I'll probably do is get up, reposition my little heaters so that they're under the trunk and engine bay, and then so that the surfaces are nice and warm, nice and hot. I gotta figure out a way to keep this thing up. I'll just run some string or something, but can I take it out? Yeah, there's cotter pins there. I suppose I could do that, but really don't want to fucking take that thing out. Yeah, I'll figure out a way. I'll use string or something. I don't know. I'm smart-ish. So, what did we say? 4 coats of, well, 1 tack coat and then 4 coats of color, and then 2 medium and 2 wet coats of clear. I'm definitely going to run out of clear before I run out of paint. Gonna need to go buy some more. I'll probably do that tomorrow too.